We had a deal, you fucking animal! Oh, dude, did you fuck this bread? You fucked the shit out of this bread. You don't fuck bread, God.
I had me a vision. There wasn't any television.
Hey, how's it going, everybody? This is Shaun.
And Sarah.
And welcome to my Future Husband Face Fucked podcast, episode 11.
We're only on 11.
This is 11. Well, we've been kind of on hiatus, I suppose, unofficially. I don't really know why. We just haven't, taken the time to do one.
Our schedule's been kind of crazy,
yeah,
too.
We've started new jobs and crazy schedules and just being tired and depressed and all sorts of other great, wonderful things that come
You make
with
our life sound so fantastic.
Just being alive sometimes is a real...
Oh my god.
A real hammer to the face, if you know what I'm saying.
This is actually your intervention.
Yeah, this is actually an intervention. That's why we're doing this, for intervention purposes. Don't go into the light. Yeah. So it's been a while, so we've actually...
That was a great start.
Yeah, no problem. No problem, America.
Oh, man.
Just fucking sink into it with me. Anyways, so since it's been a while, we actually have, a backlog of shit. We actually had to sit there and we've been talking about, what the fuck have we watched in the past, month, basically.
Yeah.
Pretty much been... Well, I think, the last time we talked about something was shortly after your next came out.
Yeah.
So it's been a little over a month since we've done an episode.
Yeah.
Yeah. And we've watched quite a bit. I've seen a few things that you haven't seen yet.
Yeah.
But yeah, other than that, same old. So watching that Netflix.
Woo!
Netflix streaming. Do you have any recommendations from the old Netflix streaming?
Well, I've been watching a ton of Bridezillas, but we've already talked about that.
Yes, we've talked about
how fucking annoying it gets, but I get trapped.
Well, it's that kind of show, does not, and I think I talked about this last time, it doesn't interest me, the show doesn't interest me, it's the stuff that, I assume goes on, within the psychology of the people that are on that show, and what it means to be on Bridezillas, and how that affects their attitudes.
Yeah.
I don't know. There was a few that, when you were watching it, I saw a few bits and pieces of a few episodes, and they had ones that, acted like they were celebrities, or actually legitimately thought they were celebrities, and I remember one woman trying to get, a free meal for her entourage.
Yeah, she
remember
was
that?
This lady, she brought her, bridal party and some of her family.
And this was a Where Are They Now? Wasn't this a recap or catch-up episode?
Yeah, it was a recap, yeah, and they were just reminding us of her adventure. Let's call it an adventure.
Yeah.
And she was sitting there, had, a rehearsal dinner or something, and then demanded kind of that it be free.
No, this was after the fact. This was after the show had aired. And this was the Where Are They Now? So they did the recap. And
I thought it was for the rehearsal dinner.
Mm-mm. No, there was a couple of them that did that, and I think one did it before, and then one did it on Where Are They Now, because she was signing autographs and stuff.
Oh, yeah, I remember. She thought she was a celebrity because she was on Bridezillas.
Yeah.
I remember the one you're talking about now. And, yeah, and she, someone came up and, asked for an autograph. She signed an autograph, and her family was kind of
You're not a celebrity.
You're not a celebrity. Yeah, kind of just get over it. And then she was like, so my meal's free, right? And she wasn't joking. And it was just
yeah, I know.
I was like, wow.
Yeah, it's just bizarre.
Yeah. So, I don't know. I just find it funny, especially because, I'm kind of starting to try to figure out stuff for our wedding. So it's kind of funny to watch these people just be
Yeah. It should be noted that most of the people on that show are very young.
And spoiled.
It's not a 50-50 split between, 20-year-olds and, people in the middle age. It's probably 75-25.
Yeah.
Of, 19 to 22-year-olds, and then there's a few middle-aged people that are just, horrible human beings.
I did see one episode where the couple just didn't get married. You missed that one. That was pretty weird.
Hasn't that happened a couple times?
Well, I saw one where they just, at the rehearsal dinner the night before, they were getting married in Vegas. The whole families were there, and she just left him, and then he was like, you can stop filming me now because I'm not a part of this, I'm not the groom. And then I thought they were going to come back and be like, but the next day.
Yeah.
And they didn't. The episode ended.
Just cut to black, very dramatic.
Yeah. No, but then today I finished watching the 3rd season of Sister Wives.
Yeah, which I've seen the first 2 seasons, and
it's kind of interesting.
It is interesting, actually. I was surprised. I used to make fun of my mom for watching that. I was like, why would you, why do you care? Who gives a shit? But then it's actually, it's interesting because those people, you get to hear actually their perspective on the world.
Yeah.
In a very open and honest way. And even to the fact that they get upset at each other about what they say during interviews. And it doesn't feel very staged, they feel very sincere.
Right, because he also looks dumbfounded a lot of times when the wives are talking and they, like, kind of, like, make a poke at him or something, and he's just like, what?
Whatever, chicks.
He did call them chicks.
Yeah.
But, so I finished the 3rd season where his new 4th wife, it ended with her giving birth to a son
Yeah.
that they named Solomon.
Well, I think the most interesting thing to me, like, what I've seen of that show, which I think I watched the first 2 seasons when they first
Yeah, we
on
watched the
Netflix.
first 2
Yeah.
together, and then I started the... This was a really short one, because I started last night and finished it really quickly today.
I think the episodes are shorter. I think they're only half-hour episodes. There's more of them, but they're only like 20 minutes apiece.
I don't know, it was really short.
I don't remember, like...
But you did watch the first 2 with me.
Yeah, and the most interesting thing was actually, like, kind of real-time dealing with the fact they're on a reality show, and they're doing what they're doing is technically illegal. You know?
Right. And then this season kind of focused on them doing more of, like, press tours and junkets, and then, like, they actually did a panel discussion through a professor of theology at Tufts.
Yeah.
So they were starting to show their more public side and what's happened since they've been public for a year.
Yeah.
And in the recap episode that starts the season off, it was kind of like they were talking, and like they would have to stop some questions that the interviewer was asking them and be like, you have to talk to our lawyer, which they actually did bring on their lawyer and talk to the lawyer.
Yeah.
Because they were kind of comparing it to the, I can't remember his name right now, Jeff's, I think is his last name. He was one of the leaders of the Church of Latter-day Saints who was abusing children, taking, like, child wives, child brides.
Yeah.
And then, like, even sexually abusing, like, male, like...
Yeah, he's just a pervert.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And, like, sexual and, like, physical abuse, I think. It was pretty intense. And their biggest point right now is to kind of show how there's a divide in that faith. There's a divide between the, Mormon Church and the Church of Latter-day Saints
Well, there's
now.
like 3 divides.
Yeah, well, I'm just saying...
Because there's, like, mainstream Mormonism, right?
Yeah.
Which I guess you could say, like, just because he's a public figure, that most people will be able to recognize Mitt Romney, mainstream Mormonism.
Right.
Then there's LDS, which is kind of like hardcore fundamentalists.
Yeah.
And then there's like this new sect of polygamy, which is kind of like...
Of polygamy or of Mormonism?
Of Mormonism, but that's still, like hardcore fundamental LDS, they still continue on with polygamy.
Yeah.
But they're more progressive and seemingly like regular folks.
Which is what they are.
Yeah.
But that's what they were spending a lot of their time kind of dividing the misunderstanding and like things that are misconstrued between like someone like this Jeff's guy and their family, showing that there's a fundamental difference.
Yes.
And, they were kind of cool about, one of the students came out and said, I'm gay, and I was wondering how you guys would accept me, but now hearing you talk, it's kind of comforting, because, like, you understand what it's like to be, like, just, like...
An outcast.
An outcast because of who you are. So, they, like, and that's when they started talking about how they want their children to make up their own minds and kind of...
Yeah.
Be open-minded, and, like, if they want to choose to be in a, like, multiple-wife family, they encourage it, but they're not going to force it upon them.
No, it's not something they say, like, this is what works for us. We find it very spiritually fulfilling. We feel like we are carrying on, like, the Word of God, God's will.
God's will.
But it's not necessary, I guess? Like, it's for those that are called.
Yeah, that's what they were saying. And then it was also kind of like, it's cool to hear some of their older kids talk now, because now they're starting to do, like, the interviews with the teens in the group.
Yeah.
And you hear how, like, one of the oldest daughters is like, I am going to be in this life. I want this life. I know this is my calling. And there's, like, on the other end, there's a 15-year-old daughter who's like, I don't want this for myself. I don't want this for my family. I don't want a big family if I have a family at all.
Yeah.
So it's kind of interesting to see that and how accepting they are.
Yeah.
And, like, they started doing church in their home because when they had to move to Vegas to kind of get away from Utah and away from investigation into their family.
Yeah, which was a big part of it in the second season.
Second season, yeah. So they moved to Vegas to start this new life, and so what they started doing was family church meetings every Sunday in their house.
Yeah.
Reading the scriptures together, giving lessons, to keep the faith up with the kids and the family.
Yeah.
And one girl didn't want to come, and so the dad calls and he's like, why aren't you coming? And she's like, because they're filming it. And this is a personal, sacred thing. I don't want to be on film, blah, blah, blah.
Yeah.
And he was kind of upset at first. She didn't want to come to, like, what they call it church.
Yeah.
But then he was like, you know what? I understand her point. and we're going to talk about it further, but I appreciate that. And so it kind of shows how they're, like, more an open-minded...
Well, I mean, given the fact that they seem like they're pretty nice people, and very normal, relatively normal.
They're pretty vanilla.
They are. They're pretty, like, average American type, middle-class average Americans, right?
Right.
And it's easy to, the way that it's, I don't know, like, where reality and fiction, like, stop and start on that show. Because it does seem very sincere, and it's very easy to be swayed to their side of the argument, I suppose.
Yeah.
As far as, like, moral stance. Like, and is it, like, right? Their lifestyle? But at the same time, just like you said about, like, that, you know, we have, like, over the past year and stuff like that, about, like, you know, equality and gay rights for marriage and things like that, like, how can you really stand in judgment? Like, isn't it the same thing? Like, like the kid said it, that tough thing's like, oh, you kind of know what I feel like sometimes. Yeah,
and then the one mom, I don't know if you were paying attention at this point, she said, like, how dare I judge him for, but then go and speak and say, this is my life, accept me.
Exactly. Well, that's very true, and that's kind of neat, or good that they're like that, because that means that they've actually think about shit like that, like larger implications.
No, and they
like,
use the word perspective a lot, which
yeah.
is it's not them. The dad kind of said this during that one interview. He was like, you know, I am not sitting there trying to sell you my faith.
Yeah.
I'm just trying to give you my perspective, my insight on why I believe this way and live this way.
Yeah.
Which I think is a very interesting take, especially for, like, stereotypical
religious people.
Yeah.
Because they're not, like, willy-nilly. This is not like, I was raised this, so I just believe this.
Right.
It seems like there is, and especially just because of the added pressure, societal pressure against, like, polygamy and stuff like that, it actually probably makes you think about it a lot more so you can explain it. And because they want to be out in the open, I don't know what I feel like they're doing it because they just want it to be, they want to be, like, in some respect, like, an example, or pseudo-martyrs for a cause, I guess you could call it, like, because they want to shine light on something in a different light, because it's usually negative, so they want to show you the other side of the coin, because nothing is just one way.
Right.
And it's not just one perspective or representation, so I assume that's the impetus. It seemed like that's why they keep doing the show. I don't know if they're doing it anymore, though. I mean, because we only watch it on Netflix, we're not watching it, like...
I think there's another season.
I think there is, too, yeah. So, I don't know, like...
Because that one, I think, was 2011.
Yeah, I believe so. I think it's really fascinating. I was surprised how fascinated I was with it.
I know,
like
when we first watched it, I didn't think I was going to get into it either. I was like, oh, it's
Yeah.
another TLC show, great. It's another Kate plus 8.
But it's kind of like a really interesting, like, sociological, like...
Yeah.
Discussion can be had, and the way they present it on the show is actually kind of discussion-based, and it's very non-judgmental, and they kind of are allowed to be whoever they are. Warts and all, kind of. But more often than not, I would say it's skewed to the positive.
Yeah.
I don't see very much turmoil, like long-lasting turmoil on the show, even between the people.
No, everything kind of blows over pretty quick.
Yeah, usually by the end of like a couple episodes.
And that's like how good are they at hiding things? I don't know, but
well, that's the thing I'm wondering about. Like, how much is this clever editing and blah 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 to like.
I don't know, but when they do the interviews, they kind of mull out some of that stuff, and it even got to a point where one of the wives walked off of an interview because she was upset about something with the fourth new wife coming in.
Yeah, that happened a few times, actually.
Yeah, so I think they do show that there's, I mean, they don't show a lot of the resolve, I guess, maybe, or the discussion, because it's maybe because it's private.
Yeah. Well, like, that's what I appreciate about the show, like, they acknowledge, like, things like that people always criticize polygamy about, like, well, how can you not be jealous, and how can you not have this and that?
And they say, no, we are.
They acknowledge that, and they say, yeah, no, we are. We're human beings. Like, how can you not be? And they are, but they feel like it's a sacrifice you have to make, and it somehow brings them closer to God and reinforces, it's like the Catholic idea of, like, making sacrifices. Because that's I was raised a Catholic, so that's a big part of Catholic is, like, offering up your suffering.
Yep.
And in a way, that's very similar to that. You know what I mean? Like, so to become closer to God, because you'll be rewarded in the next life or whatever. I mean, we don't get planets as Catholics, but, like,
I wish. I'd have a pretty sweet planet.
Yeah. Planet Claire.
I would not have Planet Claire. You would.
Just because of the B-52 song.
No, I know. I was going to say it'd be full of beehives.
Yeah, so that's a show that's surprisingly interesting. Like, I don't like reality television very often. Like, there is a point where I just can't do it anymore. Like, I can't even like watch Bridezillas anymore. Like, I just can't do it. Like, I just hate it so much. Like, I feel it inside me. Like,
that's why I usually wait till you're at work.
Yeah, thank you.
You're welcome. I'm being considerate.
Yeah, I'd rather not. Like, just.
I like having my brain shut down.
Ugh, it's so horrible. Well, it's just horrible human beings. Like, a show like that is not about, like, positive aspects of humanity. It's literally like, let's find some horrible fucking people and just
exploit the shit out of it.
Them. Which is fine, I guess. You get what they deserve, but the thing is, like, it doesn't, like, especially because I watched a few of those Where Are They Nows, and, like, it doesn't do anything for their, like, realization, like, well, maybe I was being ridiculous or whatever. Like, most of the time they feel completely justified. And, like,
yeah.
Or, like, that's just the way I am.
Or they were like, you guys edited me that way.
Oh, yeah.
And it's like, some of those moments, no matter how you edit that shit.
Yeah. Like a girl getting a lap dance or whatever. Like, it's
and then she was like, I didn't get a lap dance. Yeah. And then they show footage over and over and over again of her getting a lap dance.
Saying that she's going to get in trouble.
Yeah.
Acknowledging what she's doing. So,
and
like,
then,
it's...
Yeah, and then the husband's just sitting there, like catching flies with his mouth.
Oh,
like,
my God. Yeah.
My favorite was, it was this, like, director-producer guy and his, like, overly, like, the over-dramatic, like, over-characterization, character lady.
Yeah.
She was like a Broadway star, like, 24/7, like, overemphasizing all her, like, mannerisms.
Yeah.
And then she was like, and we had a baby! And he just, like, looks like he wants to shoot himself in the head.
No!
And then it was, like, all these divorces, too.
Yeah. Yeah, I'd say it's probably 50-50 divorces and stay together. Usually, if they have a
like
kid, they're still
life.
together. Yeah. Usually, if they have a kid, they're just still together.
But the guy's still begrudgingly sitting there, like...
miserable, yeah.
I have no balls.
Yeah. Well, that's... Yeah. Yeah, I can't stand that show still, I just hate it. But anyways, so I guess, well, for recommendation, I'd say Sister Wives. I think even if you don't like reality shows, there's some interesting commentary about just existence and social politics in that show that make it worth watching, and I think there's a level of sincerity and honesty there that is worth your attention.
Yeah.
It doesn't feel exploitative, and most of those shows really are.
Like, even of all the children or anything, it's not...
No, it seems like they're pretty respectful in a weird way.
Yeah.
Like, as far as, like, involvement in their lives, but they've,
Maybe they just set some hardcore boundaries.
They probably did. Maybe.
Which is good.
Yeah. For my recommendation for Netflix, it's newly added, the documentary about the Shining conspiracy theories. Room 237 is now on Netflix streaming.
Oh, I want to watch that.
It's really interesting. It's something I've been interested in a long time, and a lot of the theories and stuff, I've actually watched, like, the full documentaries, just of the people talking.
Because it combines two things you love, The Shining and conspiracies.
Yes, exactly. So, like, I've been, like, steeped in this world, like Kubrick conspiracy stuff for a couple years. So I was already, like, I knew everything, but it's like a good primer, I would imagine, for people that aren't really aware of, like, this other crazy side of movie fandom. And it's really more, you can look at it as, like, a critique of how people consume art in general. And when you start assigning personal meanings to things, you can make anything you want, like, seem like that's the intent. Like, you can
that's art.
And that's art. And the way Stanley Kubrick, as a filmmaker, there's a level of meticulousness that is not found in many other filmmakers. So when they see, like, continuity errors or things like that, they read everything they possibly can. If they see a poster on the wall or, like, the framing of a can of soup that has, like, a particular, like, type of label on it or whatever, people read into that shit because of the way he was as a filmmaker. I think there are certain theories that hold up really, really well. Most of it having to do with, like, psychosexual subtext and about Jack Torrance actually being, like, a child molester and stuff like that. There's actually stuff in that movie, and, like, he was molested, and then he grew up, and it's about systematic abuse. Like, that's
Yeah.
like a subtext of The Shining.
I thought The Shining was a happy-go-lucky film.
Yeah, like that trailer.
Yeah. No, I'm kidding.
But like, it's really interesting. There's no talking heads. It's all like voiceover using footage of the film, and also cross-cut with footage of Eyes Wide Shut. And it never discusses Eyes Wide Shut. It's just like Tom Cruise. Like, there's a lot of stuff in Eyes Wide Shut where Tom Cruise just kind of walks down streets and rides in cabs and stuff, and they use that as like almost like the main character. That's in a weird way. But it's totally worth your time, especially if you love Stanley Kubrick and you like The Shining, and you are interested in hearing some really crazy things, but not like unthoughtful. Like, there's some really crazy logical leaps some of these people make, like reflections in the water, like during the helicopter tracking shot in the beginning of the movie, like about how it's like shaped like a fucking rocket. Like, because some people think this is one of the theories is that like Stanley Kubrick, this is him admitting that he faked the Apollo moon landing. Yeah,
That's pretty far reach.
but you'd be surprised though, like, because that's the thing when you watch it. It's one of those things, like, it reminds you of like how important like your field or your purview is, like how important like not having a narrow perspective is. Because if you were kept in like a narrow perspective kind of box, you can only see so much. That stuff makes sense. Because if they only show you what they want to show you, the only pieces they're going to bring to your attention are the things that help prove their theory. So you're kept in this not narrow-minded point of view, then it starts making like weird sense. And
Maybe I'll watch that tonight while you're at work.
you should, actually, yeah. It's totally worth your time. And the cool thing about it, it doesn't refute any of these people. It doesn't try to disprove any of them. It just lets them talk. And there's some really interesting stuff. Like, I don't know. Like, people that started playing the movie backwards and forwards at the same time, like, transposed over each other. And, like, how weird it is, how many things, like, line up. In, like, really weird, ominous ways. Like, it's just, like, crazy shit like that. So it's really interesting. And it's worth your time. It's on Netflix streaming, and so if you haven't seen it, I would definitely recommend Room 237. I actually wrote a review for it, like when I first saw it, when it came out in video on demand a few months ago. So you can check that out. That is on the old blogosphere here.
The Blogotech.
The Blogotech. Because a lot of dancing happens.
Oh yeah. I'm dancing right now.
Yeah, so I guess we got a laundry list of fucking movies to talk about.
I know we're gonna get through all these.
So we're gonna do our best here. I'm gonna pair two of them up. Hell Baby and Bad Milo. Horror movie comedies.
Haramedies,
if you will, yeah. All featuring members of the state.
Yay!
Ken Marino, star of Bad Milo, is the state member that's in Bad Milo. Then Hell Baby is made by Thomas Lennon and Ben Grant.
Robert Ben Grant,
sorry. Hell Baby is like a spoof of basically The Exorcist type of spoof.
Yeah.
Bad Milo is completely original, like really weird, funny.
It was really weird.
So Bad Milo is basically about a dude who has like some sort of demon in his ass that shoots out and like kills people.
It's a manifestation of his stress.
Of his stress and his inner turmoil. And
it's really cute, actually.
it's actually really, really pretty good movie. Like,
yeah.
It has like
I was surprised because sometimes Ken Marino gets on my nerves.
Yeah, that's right. Yeah, you're not a big fan of I Dip My Balls in It.
Oh, Louis? That was his main character and sketch on The State.
On The State, yeah.
Was this guy who just shows up at parties or events with 2 ping pong balls and just over and over again says, "I'm gonna dip my balls in it," and it's not that funny.
No, it's actually the same character as the one that what's his name plays, Michael Showalter. It's basically the same conceit, and they did the same meta joke with the character. He's like, "I'm out of here." But what they did is those were 2 one-note characters.
Yeah.
That weren't supposed to go on, but because of their popularity, MTV wanted both of them to move on. So they kind of, like, the last season of The State, they kind of do the same meta joke, where, like, they're forced to, like, face the fact that they have catchphrases.
Yeah, I know.
Yeah, so, I mean, but, whatever. But
But
Anyways.
Louis just got on my nerves.
Yeah.
Well, and just for in general, Ken Marino sometimes would get on my nerves, like when watching The State at least.
Yeah.
I guess removed from The State.
Well, like, think about something like Children's Hospital. Like,
No,
he's really funny in that.
no, I agree. I think it depends on what setting he gets put in.
I think he plays a great, like, blowhard.
Oh,
He
yeah.
plays, like Wanderlust. Like, he's
Yeah.
one of my favorite parts of Wanderlust, being the asshole brother.
Yeah.
Like, he's pretty hilarious in that.
Yeah.
But anyways, Bad Milo, so it's this demon that comes out of his ass, like, it's fucking hilarious. Like,
Yeah,
I really, really enjoyed it. Did not expect to enjoy it. I thought it would be like, oh, it'd probably be funny and cute, but I was like, wow, that actually is, like, kind of a cohesive movie that has, like, a point to it. And,
Yeah.
like, and it gets just ridiculous enough. Like, never really overdoes it. Like,
His off the grid dad was my favorite part.
yeah, who also had an ass demon. Find out like it's a family problem, and then their demons like fight each other. Like it's funny. It's really funny. Like if you haven't seen it yet, it's on video on demand, and it's gonna be out in like limited release theaters. But like just get it on video on demand. It's you will be like pleasantly surprised by like how hilarious that movie is.
Yeah, I really
and
enjoyed
how well
it.
made it is. Like I didn't expect it to be as well made as it was. Like and it gives
And Kumail's in it.
yeah, Kumail Nanjiani.
Yeah.
The comedian, and he has a podcast on the Nerdist called Indoor Kids with his wife, which is something we occasionally listen to.
Yeah.
Pretty entertaining guy and stuff, and he's actually really funny in Bad Milo.
Yeah.
He's got a small part, but it's probably he kind of steals the movie when he's in it.
Yeah.
Really funny, and he's also in Hell Baby.
Yeah, that's right.
Yeah, Hell Baby. What did you think of Hell Baby?
I was disappointed.
Yeah, I thought it was pretty bad, and I really like the cast and
Thomas
the
Lennon
actors.
was always one of my favorites.
Yeah, and it's got a. I guess is it Key or Peele
I don't know.
from Key and Peele?
Yeah, I don't. Is it Key? I don't know.
I will just say it's Key.
Yeah.
He's hilarious in that movie as just like this weird dude, like weird neighbor guy.
Just shows up.
Just shows up and just says a bunch of like just crazy shit. But he's pretty funny. It's a movie that just like it's a joke every 30 seconds, and they just kind of throw everything at the wall and hope something sticks.
And
I'd
then
say it's like
it
success rate of 30-70.
And kind of dragging some jokes out way too long, which is a classic
Thomas Lennon, Ben Grant thing.
Yeah.
And I just don't think it worked as well. Like, it just, I don't know. Like, for some reason, I just didn't think it was that funny.
Yeah, I remember when we were done watching it, I was just kind of like,
Yeah, you kind of shrug your shoulders and you're like, well, I saw that. I can't say, like, I hated it, or I was kind of indifferent about it.
yeah, that's how I felt too.
And I was kind
Because
of...
it had some parts that were pretty funny.
They were pretty funny, yeah. It's almost like a conceit that just, it was not feature length, like, doable. Like, it's weird. Like, it runs out of steam within 40 minutes.
Yeah.
And you're kind of like, okay. And then they try to, like, kind of, like, change it up when they have, like, the Thomas Lennon and Robert Ben Grant come as the Italian priests.
Yeah.
Which their stuff's very hit or miss. Like, actually, their jokes. The funniest joke is the one long joke that worked was when they eat those sandwiches.
That's because you like sandwiches.
And and that happens twice, and it was pretty funny.
Yeah.
Like, that was kind of funny. Like, where it's, like, in slow motion, and they're just, like, stuffing their faces with these sandwiches. It's pretty funny.
Yeah.
But, yeah, I was pretty disappointed in that. It kind of did not blow my fucking mind.
Yeah, me either.
Yeah.
We don't have to keep talking about it.
No. That's it for those. Those
I
are
recommend
quick
Bad
reviews.
Milo, though.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I think you should get Bad Milo. And, we got one more comedy one of the comedies we saw here. R.I.P.D.
Oh, Jesus Christ.
One of the worst movies I've seen in a while.
Fucking terrible.
Not even Jeff Bridges
Could save that movie. No.
I didn't even care. I was just like, I didn't even want to finish watching it.
I know.
Like, I don't know. That was fucking horrible.
Yeah.
I don't know what the hell happened with that movie.
Ryan Reynolds is really flat.
Yeah. It was like he didn't give a shit. Maybe he didn't.
Because it's like, so he dies, and then he just automatically, like, within, 2 minutes, accepts that he's dead and gonna be this, cop for the afterlife. There's no him being, really, there's no conflict about him. There's more conflict in Men in Black about Will Smith joining the MIB.
And being bad at it.
And
Stumbling. And, being a newbie. And... kind of not able to separate
This is like
his old way of doing things to this new, like, and compensate for like the new shit.
right, and then this was just like Ryan Reynolds dying, leaving his happy life, and then like being super cop and not really thinking too much about being dead. He thinks about it, but not to a point where it makes you feel like his character really cares.
Well, they did like a half-assed like version of like, because he was engaged or his fiance or whatever. So they try to. It happens at the beginning, and then at the end where there's supposed to be some type of emotional catharsis for like that's supposed to be his arc, like his accepting that he can't be with her or something like that. But it doesn't play out through the whole movie. It's very like haphazard, kind of just shoved in there.
Yeah.
So it's kind of odd, and just most of the stuff just isn't very entertaining. There's nothing.
The monsters were annoying.
The monsters weren't very creative, and like as far as ghosts and stuff like that goes. I mean, Jeff Bridges, yeah, he was at least trying, kind of.
It was Rooster Cogburn all over again.
He was a very Rooster Cogburn-esque character. Like, he kind of was phoning it in, but even Jeff Bridges phoning it in kind of is still okay.
Yeah, he probably had the funniest lines.
Mm-hmm.
And his, like, the fact that he appeared to the world as, like, a super hot blonde was pretty funny, too.
Yeah, yeah. Well, that's another thing about that movie. Like, they gave away so much in the trailer that could have been used as, like, a good comedy reveal in the movie, but they already gave it away in the trailer. Like, I don't know. It's based on a comic book series. I've never read the comic book. I've never even heard of it before this movie came out. So, but yeah, that was bad. That's not even. I couldn't even recommend people rent that when it comes out. Like,
no.
It's just a complete waste of time. It is very reminiscent of Men in Black, like you brought up before.
But it's just not as good.
Just not good. Yeah, it's just terrible. Like, there's just no passion there. It just feels like very like weird. It was weird. It was weird, like so like flat.
No, and I remember you saying, "Do you want to finish this?" And that's really rare. It's usually the other way around.
Yeah, yeah.
So, no. Nah, dog.
And then we watched another video-on-demand film. All the Boys Love Mandy Lane.
Oh, Jesus Christ.
Which actually originally was made, I believe, in like 2006.
Yeah, that's what you told me.
Amber Heard is very young in this movie. It's probably the first thing she did, but it was been released in Europe and stuff, so there's people have seen it and bootlegs and stuff, but it's finally being released in the States. And it's not very good.
I remember waking up and being like, what are we watching?
Mm-hmm.
And you're like, All the Boys Love Mandy Lane. I was like, I've never heard of it. And that was terrible. It was predictable. It was
so predictable, like to the point of
like the twist. There's a twist at the end, and the twist.
I don't care. We could spoil it.
Yeah, she's in on this like murdering of these popular kids at her school, and even her accomplice.
Yeah,
and you could kind of sense that within really quick of them. They go to this like kids ranch.
Yeah, within 10 minutes
like,
of being
party.
at that ranch, you know there's something up because of how detached she is. Because, like, what I thought, like, within the first, like, 5 minutes of the movie, I thought there was going to be some sort of supernatural quality to Mandy.
Yeah, that's
why everybody's obsessed with her.
Yeah, and everyone, she kind of gets her way even with her mom and stuff.
Yeah, so I thought there was going to be some vein of that in there. And
some, like, poison ivy attraction to her, or, like, everyone kind of, like...
that people obsess about her.
Yeah.
And want to obtain her, but it just ends up being more of just, like, well, because she's, like...
pretty.
Just, like, the very stereotypical, like, just because she won't have sex with anybody, everybody wants to have sex with her, even to the point of being just more ridiculous than even
real life
is. I don't know. It was just dumb. I don't know. Like, I was bored. I was, like, bored the entire time.
Yeah, and I don't know. I was too. I think we ended up just talking through parts of the movie, too.
Yeah. Well, I watched the movie right before I watched that. That was also another, like, weird horror movie, cult movie that you were asleep during. It's called Jugface. And that's actually pretty interesting. It's about, like, this weird cult that worships this hole in the ground and, like, offers a sacrifice, and the way that the hole, like, asks for sacrifices is, like, possesses, like, this retarded guy, and he makes jugs, like, through a kiln with people's faces on it. And that dictates who gets sacrificed. And this one girl's face comes out of the kiln, and she realizes it before the dude comes out of his possessed trance and steals it and hides it. And then people start dying because the hole isn't getting its sacrifice.
The hole demands.
It's actually that was actually pretty good, pretty decent.
Oh, why did I have to wake up for the crappy one then?
Kind kind of weird, but it was good. Jugface, I'd say check out Jugface.
Not All the Boys Love Mandy Lane.
Yeah, it was just I don't get.
I don't have much to say about it. It was just.
I think people generally kind of like it or whatever. I think horror people kind of like it.
Really, it
Yeah.
was like even the killings weren't like exciting in a horror movie sense. They were just kind of like, oh.
No, and like there's, I mean, I get the subtext of the movie. Like I get it, like about
Do
like,
you?
about douchebags and stealing innocence from a girl and like sexual objectification and like I get it. Like it's just, but it was just not interesting. And then the twist at the end that she's in on it with this crazy kid that's obsessed with her friend or whatever that really wants to be her boyfriend, and they have like the suicide pact, and she doesn't end up. She tricks him into killing himself, and she doesn't kill herself, and he ends up getting away at the end. It's like whatever. Like who cares?
I think it would be more powerful if she would have just killed herself.
Yeah, it would have been. I guess.
Like actually gone through with the pact, but
then what's the point? What's the larger point? Like I guess the
was
larger
no-
point is that she's just a manipulative like person.
little bitch.
I guess, right?
Yeah.
I guess that's the point of the movie. So she's manipulative. Like, okay, all right, fine.
Cool.
You know, because if she killed herself, I guess it would have been more powerful. Because it could have been like, well, just a state of like how girls are made to feel about like being sexually objectified and like not being able to deal with it, like a kind of a bullying-esque like scenario. I guess that they could have made a point in that way, in that regard,
But she wasn't really bullied.
no, she's not at all. She's the girl that's more popular than the popular people because she's like an unknown.
She's the girl next door.
Yeah, and she's an unknown, so it makes people want her even more because she's mysterious.
She's an enigma.
Yeah, I don't know. It's stupid. It was just I don't know. Like, and I cut horror movies some slack too. Like,
Yeah,
and,
you do.
And you know, especially because sometimes horror movies, while they might not be like super well made or whatever, sometimes like there's it's kind of like science fiction in a way that there is an opportunity to say something, like make some type of social commentary that can sometimes be interesting. Sometimes the subtext is more interesting than the actual movie you're watching. But that's kind of why I lean like I watch a lot of stupid horror movies. Like but you know, 50% or 60% of them I'd say are bad. They're just bad because they don't understand what it is they're actually doing, and we're now in like this world of homage where everybody's just like kind of trying to harken back to the past constantly, and there's no like modern equivalent of like what makes a modern horror movie good. Like,
And I think a lot of people don't understand what they're capable of and try to go over what they're capable of, so it kind of ruins what they're trying to do.
yeah, I agree. Like when like people don't work within a budget limitation, like
Because you can make something cheap work.
you can. Oh, totally. And it's been done again and again and again. I mean, even something like this is a good segue. Like Shaun of the Dead. Shaun of the Dead is like a $4 million movie.
Right.
And it's done really, really well.
It's fantastic.
That's because they came from TV where they were doing ambitious stuff. Edgar Wright and Simon Pegg and stuff, they were doing ambitious stuff on Spaced with a very, really, really small budget, even to the point where they didn't think they were going to be able to achieve most of what they actually achieved. So when they got like $4 or $5 million, they were able to like take that knowledge of economic filmmaking and just blow the doors open on it.
Right.
Because that movie seems like a much bigger movie than it actually is.
Right.
You know what I mean? Like, it's very successful in that way. And the reason why that's a segue is because we also watched The World's End.
Yay!
Yay, the new Edgar Wright, Simon Pegg, Nick Frost joint.
I liked it.
I did like it. I don't think it's as good as the other two. I think
What's your favorite out of the three?
Hot Fuzz.
Me too.
I think, like, in retrospect, hindsight, like, now that I've seen The World's End, I think Hot Fuzz is their best one.
I agree.
The World's End it's kind of weird because it feels rushed in weird ways, and it becomes more. They always have big casts, like big ensembles, right?
Right.
But they give you like 5 leads, and the only 2 that are really given any attention are Simon Pegg and Nick Frost, which made it weird because they were co-leads.
Right.
And the other guys, like, there's not a whole ton of emotional relevance when things happen to them, I guess. Like,
yeah.
I just didn't care. I don't know. What do you think?
I kind of agree, because then at the end when some things happen, with like some of the characters.
We'll just go spoilers.
Okay, when why am I forgetting his name right now?
Which one?
Bilbo.
Martin Freeman.
Martin Freeman. He's involved with this kind of like the conspiracy of the aliens, right? Or the overtaking of this town.
Yeah, because I guess they're like kind of hive beings.
Yeah.
To a certain
degree. So he knows about it.
Yeah.
And like that's kind of like I think part of a twist in it. It was like he's kind of known about it, but like
no, he doesn't know about it.
He is one or something.
He gets turned into one.
Yeah.
Because they're slowly getting turned into one until there's Nick Frost and Simon Pegg.
But I didn't care enough that he was involved.
That he got turned.
Yeah.
Yeah, it didn't like.
That's what I was getting to. Is I didn't care enough that. I think I agree with you to that point because it was like not enough was done with the other ones. Like you get like kind of insights into how they are now.
Yeah.
But not enough to be like, whoa, like.
Well, I think it's a movie that's more about Simon Pegg exclusively than the other ones were.
Yeah.
About his character. Because his character, that movie is really about is how addiction and narcissism affects, bless you,
Excuse me,
affects everyone around you. And affects your friendships and your relationships.
Yeah.
Like how addiction and narcissism feed into each other. Like, and how it's single-minded, it makes you just to attain what you want, to get your fix, if you will.
right.
So his fix is completing this pub crawl. So even in the face of the apocalypse, he still justifies a way to keep doing the pub crawl.
Right.
Even at the detriment of his own friends, because they could have just left. But he talks them into staying because they don't want to expose themselves, quote unquote. And so I guess that's more of like the subtext about it. And even your closest friends get burned in the process. And like, cause there's this whole thing where these aliens or whatever, they're like, well, we just trying to make Earth better. We don't want to take over, but if we have to, we will.
Yeah.
Type of thing, and we'll force you to be good citizens. And like, they stand up, they're like, oh, fuck you. And they stand up to the alien presence or whatever, and the alien presence, like, because of their own, like, just willingness to be just bastards, humanity is full of bastards, and they're just like, whatever, fine.
Right.
We are what we are. And somehow, they talk the aliens into just leaving. And then the whole thing sinks into the apocalypse at the very end. So it's literally the world's end.
Ah, I get it.
Ah. And that's the only time, and he has to literally bring an end to the entire world before he gets his shit together. Because at the end, he drinks water. He goes and orders water at this post-apocalyptic bar.
Yeah.
And he's like, you know, I guess he's taking on some of these robot people because they're still there. And his crew and shit. I don't know. It was like, I liked it.
Yeah, I liked it.
I just wasn't... And I enjoyed watching it. I was really excited while I was watching it.
Yeah.
But, like, in hindsight, I guess when I think back about it, I'm just like, well, it just wasn't as good as the other ones. And maybe it's because I'm not old enough to really appreciate it, because it is about, like, nostalgia.
Yeah, I would say it's very nostalgic.
About, like, having a group of friends and how people maintain roles when you go back into nostalgic environments and how that can be detrimental. And, like, you have to realize that, like, places don't change, people change. I guess that's the whole point of it.
Yeah.
I don't know. I mean, I thought it was okay, though.
Yeah, I enjoyed it.
Yeah, I'll definitely buy it when it comes out. When it comes out, I'll buy it. Get the rest of the Cornetto trilogy there.
Boom.
But I still...
Can we get ice cream with it?
Yeah, we can.
We should eat each flavor that each movie has in it.
Okay.
That'd be delicious.
A delicious movie-going experience. Film experience. Actually, I would have liked to have seen all the three when they did that in the theaters.
Yeah, I would have too. It would have been cool.
That would have been cool. But anyways, we didn't. But like, I don't know. I really, really enjoyed it. I don't think it's the best they've done, but I definitely enjoyed it.
Yeah, it wasn't terrible.
No, not at all. It's like, if it wasn't...
It's probably... I still think it's third out of the three, though. Like...
I agree.
Probably Hot Fuzz, Shaun of the Dead, then World's End.
Yeah. Because I wasn't, like... I felt like a really weird emotional disconnect with that. Like, the characters. That I didn't feel... Like, in Hot Fuzz and Shaun of the Dead, like... It was easy for me to get invested.
Yeah.
Because they're really just stories about, like, two friends.
Right.
Really? I mean, that's really what they're about like, male relationship stuff. And like, I recognize a lot of that stuff in, like, some of my, like, friendships.
Hi, Paul.
Yeah. Well, with Paul, like, that's how it was. Like, I remember, like, when we were both kind of, like, slacker-esque, but one of us, Paul had his shit together a little bit more than I did.
Yeah.
So we kind of had that weird dynamic
Yeah.
of, like, some of his, like, family and his girlfriend now, like, wife, like, kind of didn't understand it, like, the connection we had, so it made them resentful, and, like, I kind of came off worse than I was. I don't know. But, like, so there's things like that I could latch onto, I suppose. In this one, not so much.
Yeah.
A little bit. I get it. Like, I get, like, I probably would identify with the Simon Pegg character just because of how self-destructive he is.
You look like a member of Joy Division.
And I could have very easily become, like, extremely self-destructive. I probably could. But, like...
But please don't.
Well, I'm just saying. It's out there. But, like, you know, like, and then also, like, how people define happiness as you get older, like, what makes you happy as a person. You know what I mean? Like...
Yeah.
All that stuff is there in that movie, and that's... So I saw the things, I just didn't connect with it as much as I did with the other two movies, I guess. I saw the elements, I saw what they were doing, but I think because it felt like a rushed movie, like, it could have used 20 more minutes, maybe? Like...
You say that a lot about movies.
Well,
could have used 20 more minutes.
I think it's the shortest of the three.
Yeah.
It is. It's like a pretty tight, like, hour and a half. And it moves, like, really quickly. Like...
I don't know. I kind of connect with that, like, feeling of wanting to go back and, like rally up the old gang. And,
yeah, relive your kind of childhood in a way.
Yeah, not childhood. You know, my college years.
Oh, childhood relationships. And, like, the way things were.
Because I've lost touch with a lot of my college friends.
Yeah.
So I could totally see me going back and being the one being like, Bar crawl! And everyone else being, like, on their Blackberries, like...
Dealing with life.
Yeah.
Yeah. And that's kind of
and
probably...
then me being like, one more.
Yeah, and that's the same reason I would kind of connect with Simon Pegg's character the most, is because there is, like, a longing for, like... you feel like it's the best of times when it's happening, and even when you look back and fondly, like, you forget the nasty shit about it, like, you do. Like, and it's really easy to.
Or the fact that I was the fuck-up of my friends.
Yeah, exactly.
No, I was just the badass one.
Exactly.
Yeah, see?
I'll take the perspective that Simon Pegg tells himself. But, like, that's what exactly. Like, I always felt like the fuck-up, but I just kind of I don't know if it was...
I wasn't the fuck-up, I was just the one that was always like, let's keep going!
Yeah. I mean, I think I did it out of spite, almost, like, at a certain point. Because I felt like I always have been aware of, like, how my actions affect other people.
You're a jerk.
I am just aware, and I'd be super depressed about it, but I'd be like, fuck you. Like,
You're so
fuck
punk rock.
you for making me feel this way.
You're so punk
like,
rock.
Yeah, so punk rock. But yeah, I don't know, interesting movie. Definitely worth going to see, and, like, I really want to watch it again. Like, I might change my mind, because actually, first time I saw Hot Fuzz, I didn't really love that movie.
I think I was the same way.
Yeah.
It was kind of like I took a second sitting.
Yeah, me too.
And I had to pay a little bit more attention to it.
Yep.
But I think Hot Fuzz just also was a really long movie, too. And the situation I saw Hot Fuzz in was actually, I was in Rhode Island for BotCon. I'm going to make an effort to mention Transformers every time. But, no, I was, we were in Rhode Island in Providence for BotCon. And we were trying to find something to do after the convention ended for the first day. Found a $2 movie theater.
Yeah.
Hot Fuzz was playing. And this theater was, like, the worst movie theater I've ever been in. It was like... the apocalypse had just happened inside this theater. Literally, no, it was a 99-cent theater, I'm sorry. And so you literally gave them $1, you got a penny back.
Yeah, last run theaters.
Yeah, and then, it wasn't $2, it was $1, or 99 cents. So I got a penny back, didn't even get popcorn, go in the theater, and the seat I'm sitting in has the arms, like, duct taped onto it.
Nice.
The, like, material, like, movie theaters have material, like, cinched on the walls.
Yeah.
It was all ripped and hanging down.
Nice.
Like, it was pretty classy. And then we tried to move seats because, like, I was with this kid Gabe I knew at the time, and, like, Gabe and I were like, wow, we should, like, move. And so we moved down into another row, and the seats were worse. Like, there was, like, a hole in one of the chairs, and then, like, it was missing an arm, but it was jagged. So, like, if one of us put our arm down, we'd get poked.
Yeah.
And it was like, I hope I don't get, like...
Yeah,
I need to get a tetanus shot now.
Yeah, it would be distracting.
Yeah, it was. That's how I saw Hot Fuzz.
Yeah.
So I kind of was like, I need to watch that again.
Yeah.
And I think I just bought it because I had Shaun of the Dead, so I just like bought it and
Yeah, me
watched
too,
it.
actually.
Yeah.
I saw it in the theater by myself, and I thought it was like, it was okay.
It felt long though. Maybe it just felt long because
I
I was
felt
in
bored.
a shitty theater. Yeah.
I was like bored by it for some reason or whatever, and then I watched it again when it came out on DVD. I bought it, and I was like, "What the fuck was I thinking? Like, this movie's amazing. This movie's I love this movie."
Yeah.
I've bought it 3 times in my life. I bought it when it first came out on DVD.
Lost it.
Nope, still have it.
Oh.
And then I bought a second copy when they double dipped and did like a 3-disc collector's edition. Bought that. Then I bought it on Blu-ray.
Oh, so you have 3 copies.
Yeah, I do have 3 copies.
That's why I didn't bring mine. Okay. We could have had 4.
4's too much. 3, that's good.
What if something happens to your DVD copy?
Well, then I don't know. I guess we'll have to get it sent here.
You'll have to ask my brother.
All right. I'll be like, dude, Michael, give me that back. We need it. We need extra copies.
Now.
So I guess we got one more thing to talk about. One more movie that we saw. Bling Ring.
I was excited.
I wasn't excited.
I was, because I knew the story, like, because I had seen, like, the interviews and the show that the one girl that's involved in the robberies.
Pretty
for all
Wild?
you. Yeah, Pretty Wild.
Yeah.
I used trashy shows I used to watch because of the soup.
Yeah.
And it was also just, at that time my life was working in an office, so I had a lot of time just to click around on the internet, and you often end up just looking at stupid celebrity shit. After you click through all the other important stuff, you're like,
Yeah.
you're done for the day. You're like, I can't check this website anymore, it's not going to update anymore, so
Yeah.
I better just, oh crap, I'm reading this junk. That's what happened to me. I would check all my websites incessantly and then be like, they're not going to be updating much more for today, and then have to go read, like, Perez Hilton or something.
Ugh.
No, it was just a general, like, joke.
Well,
But-
it's a movie that's without. It's about a thing that happened,
yeah.
an actual thing that happened, without any voice or input of like social commentary or the larger implications of like the Twitter generation or whatever. Because that's what it's about.
Yeah.
It's about like this weird.
It's about a group of spoiled kids that get bored and go start robbing celebrity homes and hanging out and breaking into their homes when they're
Yeah.
away. They check the internet to find out when they're at events so they know whose houses they can go into. Which
Yeah.
was befuddling to us that none of these people had set security alarms or locked their fucking doors or would just leave their keys under the mat.
Yeah, which hey, that's their fucking fault, I guess.
I agree.
But I
But-
mean, like, but see, something like that is like an opportunity to be like, look how easy it is to fucking like do something like this.
Robin Hood the shit out of them. That's what I would do.
Yeah, that's not what they were doing.
I would.
They weren't Robin Hooding anything.
No, I know. I would, though. Because I'm poor. So.
So basically, like, it felt like, because I watched a couple episodes of that show, Pretty Wild, with you,
Yep.
and it pretty much felt like I was watching that show. It's just
Yeah.
as shallow and vapid, and like, there's no lesson learned. There's nothing. Like, these kids are so dense that they don't even fucking learn anything when they get caught.
I will give Emma Watson.
Emma Watson was great, yeah.
She sounded just like the girl.
Yeah.
Alexis Nyers. They changed the names in the movie, but she was playing Alexis Nyers. And she even had her mannerisms down. Where like, I just want to be a humanitarian. It's like,
Yeah.
it's perfect. And I actually, Judd Apatow's wife did really good as the mom.
She did.
She had the persona down.
Yeah. Well,
Why am I calling her Judd Apatow's wife? What's her name?
Oh God, Amy Mann.
Okay.
Like, because there's another aspect of the movie that and it was something like maybe I'm aware of and never thought about, like the access that underage kids have to like disgusting lifestyles, like when you are a model or something, like in the level of exploitation like those kids go through, and they're kind of like raised to only care about like really shallow shit.
Yeah.
But the movie doesn't make any. I guess maybe it doesn't have to. I'm not saying it has to, and I don't know how. Maybe it feels like just showing it for what it is enough. So I could be wrong. Like I could be being harsh.
I think it's a typical Sofia Coppola movie, and it's very uninteresting and kind of boring.
And ponderous.
And ponderous, yeah.
Ponderous, and this one was ponderous in a really boring way. I mean, because I give her a
I did
pass
love all
on
the club music.
Well, because even there's something like Lost in Translation, which I know you've never actually seen, right?
No, every time I've tried to watch it, I fall asleep 20 minutes in.
That movie's about...
I literally used to watch that to fall asleep.
But that movie has, like, subtext. It's not on the nose, but it's about, like, middle-aged malaise and, like, what it feels like to be fish out of water and going through basically a midlife crisis at the same time and dealing with a different culture and xenophobia and stuff. Like, that stuff's in there, and it is kind of, like, making some kind of, like, declaration about, like, how you put value on, like, life and moving on, and maybe it's okay to do that when you're older. And it goes through those emotions, and that stuff's there. And this and like Marie Antoinette was another one that was kind of like,
I hated Marie Antoinette. I remember when it ended in the theaters, I was like,
I was just bored. Like, I saw what she was trying to do, and she was trying to make the connection between, like, modern debutante, like, kind of, like, rich, spoiled kids with Marie Antoinette to expose, like, some sort of larger, like, human nature type of thing. And that's, like, why she used, like, the modern soundtrack, like the stroke songs and stuff like that, was to show that, like, there isn't much difference just because it's a different time period, like, the thinking is kind of the same.
yeah.
Mentality is kind of the same. And I understand why Sofia Coppola makes the kind of movies that she does. And I kind of appreciate that, because she is commentating on existence that she actually kind of knows about, because she grew up that way.
Yeah.
Obviously, probably a little bit more thoughtful and things like that than most, like, spoiled rich kids or whatever, but, like, it's a world that she kind of lived in.
Yeah.
Is growing up this, like, what do you do when you have everything and you're always bored?
What do you do when you're
like,
Nick Cage's cousin?
Yeah. No.
Be awesome.
Be awesome. And Leonardo DiCaprio's cousin, too.
And Jason Schwartzman.
Oh, my God.
But I'd be more proud of being Nick Cage's cousin.
Yeah. Oh, man. I don't know. So, like, Bling Ring. Are you happy you watched it?
Huh?
Are you glad you watched it?
I was more excited for it just because it was something I paid attention to while it was happening, so I was curious to see how it'd be portrayed in a movie.
Yeah.
Afterwards,
Yeah, me neither. I'm pretty indifferent about it. I don't hate it. I think there's some good performances. There's some interesting stuff in there that never feels like it comes to... It's not very cohesive. It's just kind of like, here's a sequence of events, and then the movie is over.
Watch these kids get high a lot.
And then the movie's over.
Yeah.
Like, and that's it. There's no, like, larger consequence. There's no, like, larger message or anything. It's just like, well, this happened. So I don't, like... I don't know. It's just not my cup of tea, I guess. And I'm, like, not a Sofia Coppola hater.
I'm not a big fan.
I think I would give her movies most of the time I'll give them a chance. I
Virgin
think I've seen
Suicides was super boring too.
Well, at least there's something there, though.
I found it super boring. I don't know.
I don't know. I saw it when I was in high school. It's been a while since I've seen it.
Yeah, I think I saw it in high school too, but
Yeah.
it was just I just remember not being super impressed.
Okay.
I'm just saying my opinion.
No, I know. That's
So
fine.
back the fuck up.
That's fine, girl. That's fine. Whoa, whoa, whoa. Slow your roll.
You slow your roll.
Yeah, I don't know. Like, but why did you want to see this movie if you kind of never liked any Sofia Coppola movies?
I think I was just curious to see how it would be portrayed in a
What
movie.
the interpretation would be?
Yeah.
Which it didn't give you an interpretation. It just
No,
gave
it
you
didn't.
like a fucking just sequence of events, like I said. It
Yeah,
just plays
no,
out and
I
then
told-
it's over, and you're like, oh.
I totally agree.
I wasn't ever bored.
I just felt kind of... It could have been a
Indifferent,
good background movie.
I
Like if
guess,
we were,
yeah.
like I was writing or reading or something. Except for the club music might have gotten annoying.
Yeah.
But... I don't know how people go to clubs and listen to that shit.
I don't know either.
Give
Oh,
me
I
a
can't
headache.
stand that shit.
Whoa, 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 whoa.
I mean, it's just, and I guess it's maybe frustrating as there was a potential there to make some type of like social commentary or do something with like the things that were happening.
The modern state of affairs of a rich teenager.
Of rich teenagers, but it's something that like is because one of the characters is not super rich, and it's the kid.
The
who
guy.
ostensibly is the main character of the movie. That's our avatar.
He's rich.
Is he a rich kid?
Yeah, his dad runs like an overseas production company.
Oh, that's right.
He just moved there because he had to go to reform school.
Yeah, that's right. You're right. I'm sorry. Because like what I was gonna make if that was
the case.
if that was the case, was that like there's a trickle down between like this type of lifestyle these people lead that affects people that are not of the same class and do not live in the same type of affluence that they do, because you find like the general society caring about the same things that they care about without actual means to obtain any of it, and they just live in like this perpetual state of fantasy that I think affects like mass psychology in a way that I don't like. Maybe there's not enough time has gone by for people to do actual like sociological studies about it yet, like with the way that like Twitter and Facebook and all the social interactions have like affected the way people care about things, because they're closer into connection to things they normally never have been before. Like, we could tweet movie stars. Like, we could try to talk to people. Like, we could.
I've talked to Mike in Black.
There you go.
In real person and on Twitter.
But that's the thing, though. Like, we have, like, this access we've never had before, and how does that affect us? And how does that make us, like... does it make us feel like they're more on an even plane with us?
I don't know. I think, now that we're talking and I'm kind of thinking about it, I think the strongest connection that we could make, it's kind of a reach, is maybe showing the distance someone will go to impress another person. Because he did really like that one girl.
Yes.
And the distance, the kind of pressure there is there kind of in that age group, I guess. Or even, not even that age group, I guess just society. When you enter into a new realm of friends, maybe?
That's true.
Like, it's more about interaction as opposed to class, but the class comes in when it shows, like, how, like, they have such disregard for... They just want
things.
It's not like, they take things, obviously, because they're worth a lot of money.
But not really.
But
because they're more...
No, because obviously the one kid takes the Rolexes and tries to sell them. He's smart about it. But then the girls are like, they just want this designer's dress.
Designer shoes and stuff like that, exactly. Like, there's this...
Right, so there's that kind of, like, understanding of class in that sense, but I think maybe the point she was trying to drive home was just the pressures of, like, society now, and, like, trying to impress other people, and, like...
Well, because society...
how far someone will go to, kind of...
For shallow reasons.
Yeah.
Because we are more and more getting to this idea of just, like, how materialistic we are, I think, at the, like, some, like, height of materialism in culture right now.
Yeah.
We really are.
That's why we're all broke.
It's about wanting things just to have it. Not that it actually affects you in any real way. It doesn't change who you are and stuff, but people think it does. It's just like attaining these things, like this vapid shallowness. And like it's been like, and I think like reality TV has done this, and I think like E-Network is kind of a big part of this, is like being famous just for being famous. And like that kind of
celebrity for celebrity's sake.
I'm a celebrity because I'm a celebrity, even though I've never done anything and I don't really matter.
Except for that one porn tape.
Except for that one porn tape. But I have nothing to offer. Like that's the thing. Like you have nothing to offer, and why should people pay attention to you? There was a time where if you were going to be famous, you had to be able to have some type of skill and have something to offer, whether it was writing, acting, directing, whatever.
Or all of the above.
Being a good editor, something you had to at least be something.
Yeah.
Now you don't have to. You can just exist, and like there's a part of it's like nepotism has gotten out of control because you have like a lot of the kids of these people that are well accomplished. And
Rod Stewart.
Well, yeah, Rod Stewart or like the Kardashians and stuff like that. They're only famous because of the Jenner guy.
Well, their dad was involved in the O.J. Simpson trial. He was one of the attorneys.
Yeah, that's true. Well, that's what I mean. But like they're not. Their parents earned their place, right? And now they're just famous because they're somebody's kids, and they don't actually want to do anything. They don't want to do anything.
That's Rod Stewart's daughter.
They just want to be famous. Like
Kimberly Stewart just had Benicio del Toro's baby a couple years ago. Just saying.
Okay.
But she's only famous because she walks up and down a carpet.
Yeah, exactly. Like, I don't know. It's just really weird. It's really weird. And I wish that movie had something interesting to say about it, I guess. At least something to say about it, rather
Didn't say much at all.
No. Classic Sofia Coppola.
Speak for yourselves, people.
But yeah, well, I guess that's pretty much the gamut. That's what we've been doing.
Yeah.
That's most of the things we've watched.
Yeah, we might think of some other things later, but
Yeah, but who knows?
I'll keep that for myself, people.
Hopefully we'll get one up on with more regularity coming in the coming weeks and whatnot.
I would like that.
There's some movies coming out that I actually would like to see.
Like what?
Gravity.
I'm gonna hyperventilate through that whole movie.
Well, we'll see what happens.
Space is terrifying. We've had this conversation.
Comes out this weekend. I'll probably go see it. So.
Okay.
Maybe.
Happy birthday, Shaun.
That'd be my birthday present. It's also my birthday this weekend.
Woo! Old Man River.
Old Man River, 27. Alright, everybody, my name is Shaun.
My name is Sarah.
And you've been listening to my Future Husband Facefuck podcast. Thank you, and good night.
Good night.